Lost. What does getting lost mean to you? I know to me, it could be physically lost or mentally lost. But I know I wanted to get lost. So the goal for Lost, the series, was to take a group of friends, pick a starting point, have no true destination other than we have some trails and they lead north or they lead south, and just drive. Really truly explore, because that's what the whole basis for true overlanding is. It's not starting and setting all these waypoints and stopping and so on and so forth. It's about the adventure. It's about going to areas that you are unsure of, that you've never been, and exploring, truly exploring. That's why I created this new Lost series. We pick a starting point and we go out for 3 days. At the end, we use my Garmin to get us back to civilization. That's it. Everything in between is just pure adventure and fun. So sit back and enjoy my very first episode of the Lost series. Radio check. So our adventure begins into the unknown. I've driven by this location, Jawbone, numerous times and always wondered where it went and what was out there. So we chose this as the starting point for our adventure, and we were going to follow this Jawbone Canyon Road as far out as you could possibly go with it and see where it led us. Why not? We had 3 days. So the adventure begins. At this point of the journey, we were approximately about 12 miles from the starting point. And I was looking at this path, and I couldn't believe how far it extended into the skyline. It was just unbelievable. So we continued our trek, driving, unsure exactly where we were going. But we knew that we were going to follow this path and keep going. When we got to the top of our first peak, after doing a lot of switchbacks, decided to take a look at the beauty behind us and where we left. At this point of the journey, off to our left, we could start to see windmills turning from the afternoon breeze. And we were wondering, or at least I was, are we going to get closer to them or continue just straight on into the nothingness? The scenery started changing a bit as we got deeper and deeper into the desert. The rock formations, the colors, everything was starting to change. It was getting hotter. At this point, it was about 92 degrees. But we continued to trek on in search of our adventure. So at this point, we're probably a good 25 miles into our trek, and we crest over our final hill and start our descent into the Kelso Valley area. Last few remaining windmills, and the Piute Mountains off in the distance, covered in smoke. Most people take that road to go to Lake Isabella, but we're taking a different scenic trail.
Yeah, because I've gone back that way, and I know there's a dirt trail that you can take from the lakeside. Not close to the lake, but where all the ranches are at before you get to the lake.
copy that. No, I picked this trail because it was a bit different. It would take us through different areas that a lot of people don't know about. So we continued making our trek towards the Piute Mountains. And the scenery was starting to change even more. We started seeing the sprouts of pine trees. Even the bushes were changing. We knew we were slightly climbing in elevation. I think at this time we were about 3,000 feet. The really cool thing was the fact that we just left all the fence lines behind us and we were in wide open country, and the road just continued to go and go and go. At this point of the journey, I was getting a bit excited because I knew we were getting closer to the Piute Mountains, but I was unsure exactly where this road was going. As we continued to make our way deeper into the Piute Mountains, the terrain was getting more rugged. The actual path was getting steeper and steeper. But in the end, it was all very beautiful. As we began entering into the lower portion of the Piute Mountains, started noticing a lot of private property signs all around, along with no hunting. So I knew we were getting into some backcountry areas. Nothing like, the hills have eyes or anything like that, but I knew that we were going into a territory that had a lot of wildlife. Later on, we found out that it was open season for deer, and there were a lot of bow hunters up in the area that we were staying at. This leg of the journey was when we started hitting some steep inclines and switchbacks. It was a good test for the trailers, see how they would do, and they were extremely capable. I knew the wagon could make it up, and I knew the mad scientist is very capable within his Jeep to make it up this pathway. The views were spectacular, even though there was smoke. And we just kept climbing and climbing and climbing.
4 low just to get better gearing.
I'm in 4 high right now. Should I shift it to 4 low?
Well, I do it just because it helps out the engine. I'm a lot more underpowered. But if you can pull the tires, you're good.
Yeah, she's purring. It's beautiful up here.
Yeah, we're climbing.
Yeah, my ears just popped. The altitude at this point was around 4,900 feet. We've climbed almost 2,000 feet in a matter of minutes and continued to climb up.
It's almost like Cougar Buttes.
We soon find out that we enter the Sequoia National Park. And that's when the smiles really began to happen. An interesting thing about this overall trail is the Pacific Crest Trail actually weaves in and out of the Piute Mountains. Our current elevation was 6,250 feet, and we were still continuing to climb. We weren't sure how high this went. I know some of the Piute Mountains go about 10,000 feet, but I wasn't sure if this particular road was going to continue to go up or if it was eventually going to level out. Now, after a few more curves and ups and downs on this road, we came across something very interesting. At first, it looked like the tip of a rocket, and as we approached it closer, it looked like some sort of a burn silo of some sort that the old-timers used for something. Still unsure what it was, but we decided to stop and take a look at it. As you look on the inside, you can see a ton of ash and remnants of tires. These tires littered the entire facility. So it was either to burn tires or burn a mixture of tires and other things. But the center was extremely soft. The exterior of the structure was quite impressive. The ladder on the side, and then a catwalk up top. Must be a way to service the fan up there. So we continued to head forward, leaving that giant monster of a structure behind us, knowing that there were more things waiting for us. Here comes the mad scientist, rolling through, just cruising, having a nice drive. As we were driving, I couldn't help but feel at home in this place. In a lot of ways, it reminded me of Big Bear, with a mixture of some other mountain passes that I've gone through. It was calm, peaceful, light cool breeze was going through the air. The air was actually clear up here. We were at 6,600 feet in elevation, and continuing to climb a little bit more. But the smoke was beneath us and all around us, but not where we were at. Everyone say hello to Chuck and Ingrid, the Free Rangers, and their siblings. So we ended up in a dispersed campground called Landers. We were up about 6,700 feet at this point. This is Snapshot Maria going around, getting the action shots. Here comes Misha, Super Wolf. Now, what you don't know is Maria has a tendency of operating a camera when you're not looking.
This is why I bring my rake.
I usually do.
Wake up before.
And see,
Get it ready.
I know.
she's right in your face. Hi. And now she's gone around the Black Beauty, the tank, giving you that up close and personal feel. It was really a beautiful campground. Not too many people. It was quiet. It got cool at night, about 40 degrees. Daytime temperatures were right around 75, 80. Here's an inside look of my living quarters for the next 2 days. My buddy Sergio was supposed to join us, but he couldn't, and instead allowed me to take his trailer. It was cozy, well insulated, and comfortable. So we began dinner around 4:30. Decided to make some tri-tip steaks, pan fry them with some slap ya mama seasoning on them, some garlic, some butter, and then topped them with some green beans. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not, but it did. The green beans actually steamed themselves on top of the steaks. Came out perfect. The mad scientist really loves vegetables. Both he and Snapshot Maria love stir-frying vegetables along with their meals. It was actually really good. Here he is cutting up some mushrooms. These things were huge portobellos, beautiful, and tasted fantastic. He also mixed in some Brussels sprouts, some asparagus, and I'm not sure what the other vegetable was. And here is the finished product. Really good. Topped it off with some garlic mashed potatoes. Couldn't ask for a better meal for the first night. We slept great.
Yeah.
The next morning I woke up probably about 7:30 in the morning and just admired the view. It was so peaceful and quiet. The air was cold and crisp. Not a sound. Just a light breeze going through the trees. Here's me making up my pot of coffee. Yes, I have to have coffee every morning before I start. Percolated just right. Later in the morning, we decided to go for a hike and check the surrounding area around the campsite. Here's Mel with Misha. Misha's bringing him his knife. She's a great dog. She really is. So as you go to one side of the camp and hike up a little trail, you hit the crest of the peak and you can see the surrounding valley around. And it just looks so rugged. Here's a natural spring that's been tapped into. It feeds into this water storage system, and then it flows through the pipe into a catch basin area right there, and then that trickles out into this wonderful meadow. We did on the first day, we saw a doe and its baby. It's really beautiful out there. Mel decided to bring out his little RC rock crawler that he had. Thing was pretty cool. It has front and rear lockers. It'll go into low and high gear. So we were just kind of messing around with some of the surrounding rocks just to see what it was capable of doing. At times it would crash into stuff, but Mel was having a great time. I couldn't control it worth a darn. I used it a few times and then gave the controls back to Mel. But I may get one in the future. They are a lot of fun. Within the area was this stone structure. Looked like it was built by old timers. It was really cool just to look at how many rocks they were able to stack. Had this chimney fireplace set up. And then we looked off onto the hills and saw this structure. Looks like someone was using it at one time. We continued to explore all around the campsite. And the following day, before we left camp and decided to head down the mountain, there was one other area we wanted to check out. It was called the Waterhole Mine. And we weren't sure if there was actually a mine. Maybe there was at one time. But we followed the road to see where the path went. And like a lot of the other paths up in Landers, there really was no mine. You just followed it, went into more deep territory of trees and rocks. But it eventually ended up being a dead end for us, which is okay. we were all about the exploration more so than anything else. So we didn't mind. But we did talk to some locals, and the vast majority of trails, as far as off-roading goes, are fire roads. And they're not difficult or technical. They're a little tight at times. But the other true off-road trails are more for dirt bikes out in this area, which makes sense because it's an area known for a lot of hunting. So we continued our exploration right before we ended up leaving and going down the hill. So we left the Waterhole Mine area, and this is us driving out. Oh, I guess there was something on the lens. And so we left on this path and started heading down the mountain. Now, we didn't want to take the previous path that we took up. We wanted to see more of the mountainside from the backside of it. So we went a different direction just to kind of see the sights and what it was all about. The backside of the mountain has this steep decline. I'd say it's about 10 to 12% grade. It was a really nice view. We were very high up and dropping pretty rapidly. During this descent, the spare tire on the trailer decided to unhitch itself. Luckily, I was going faster than the tire, and I saw it out of my rearview mirror, my side mirror. I waited for the tire to roll down the hill and run into the trailer. Then I put it inside. That was about the most excitement that we had to deal with. Aside from that, we had beautiful views and a great adventure. Temperature was getting warmer as we were getting lower and lower, but this was a great time. Smoke was getting heavier, and you could smell it in the air. So our adventure ends where it began, in Jawbone. It was a great time with friends. I really appreciate Mel and Maria and their dog coming along on this journey. And so is the end of this movie. Stay tuned for the next episode of Lost.